What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, thanks to Shozy Store, we're going to be checking out the Bloks, Transformers, Rise of the Beasts, Mirage and RC. Now, if you would like these or any of the previously released characters, definitely be sure to check out the links down below. Now, both of these are model kits, so there is some assembly required, but the builds are super straightforward and in all honesty are incredibly fun. So let's get cracking. And up first, here we have RC. Now, call me crazy, but I think this may just be the best looking figure which we have so far seen released for this actual design. Now, she's a Bloks character, so there are some parts of the design which are a little stylized, but I think specifically with RC, not too drastically, to the point where she is stacked up against some Studio Series characters, she actually looks kind of awesome, and because the scale is quite small, personally, I think she fits in perfectly with them. So, as we check out the details, the head sculpt is super G1 inspired. Check out some of the mechanical paneling which we have surrounding the face, and the metallic red outer armor I think is looking incredible. One of the best shades of plastic they've so far used on one of these model kits, and because she is basically an action figure, the robot design is incredibly streamlined. She doesn't transform, so it has allowed Bloks to solely focus on how she actually looked in the movie. So check this out, we now finally have a pair of movie accurate wheels placed on her back, and these are looking sick. Now, as some of you may have noticed, she's also packing a pair of ports here on the base of the legs. This is so you can recreate the scene in the film where she is swinging along the side of Wheeljack, battling it against Battle Trap. So let's call for some backup. And this is a really easy look to pull off because you basically just rip off the tyres and snap them here into the base of the legs. So I thought that was really sweet, and because her feet are quite small, despite these actually rolling, they can in some ways help aid her stability. So overall, definitely a wicked feature for a model kit. And as we check out her accessories, unfortunately she doesn't include nowhere near as much as some of the previous releases. So in addition to the pair of hands, here kitty, she's also packing a pair of inbuilt arm blasters, which, considering that she includes two, is a massive step up in comparison to the Studio Series release. These are great, especially when posing. Which, speaking of, RC also includes a display base. Now, unlike the previous releases, she's also one of the very first characters to include a dynamic flight stand, which I think is brilliant. It allows you to get her into way better poses than you would had she just been stationary on the ground. So I'm hoping this is something they can include going forwards, because I'm going to be real, guys, having in-aerial battles is so much better than having grounded battles. Now, checking out RC's posability, she's surprisingly quite articulated. So, the head is on a ball joint. This will look up all the way, which is brilliant, especially because she does include that flight stand. It can then look down, rotate left to right, tilt side to side. In terms of the wheels, these are on ball joints, so these will move all the way around, hinge up, hinge down, hinge to the sides. The shoulders will kick forwards, they will kick backwards, they will go out to the side. There is then a bicep cut, an elbow bend, and a ball joint here at the wrist. The waist is basically just on a peg, so this will rotate all the way around with no problems. The hips will kick forward to that far. They will then go back roughly to that far. They can kick out to the side. There is then a knee bend which can go way past 90, which is brilliant. In addition to that, there is then a thigh swivel. And finally, the feet are on ball joints, so these can rock forwards, backwards, side to side, and rotate all the way around. So definitely quite a dynamic model kit. I think she's one of the most posable that we have so far seen from this Rise of the Beast subline. But to see what she is truly capable of, now let's put her through the pose test. And saving possibly their best ever release for last, here we have Mirage. Now I was super excited for this guy because, to be honest, I was kind of let down by the Studio Series version. Because it's a transforming figure, it was quite cluttered and unfortunately really didn't resemble what we actually saw in the movie, whereas because this is a model kit, I think the details are mostly bang on. Now much like RC, because he is a Bloks character, some of the proportions are a little stylized, but he is mostly looking awesome. So as we check out the head sculpt, I think the details are sick, even down to the engraved Autobot insignia packed inside the head crest. The chest unit too is looking wicked. Check out all of those multi-layered mechanized panels. The leg design too, I think, has been super nicely sculpted, and as we check him out here from the back, this is looking bang on to the movie. So definitely a really cool figure. He's also quite poseable, which I'll show off in just a bit, so it really allows you to kind of pull some of the personality that we actually saw in the Rise of the Beast film. And unlike RC, Mirage is packing in the accessory department. So up first we get a pair of kind of dynamic hands. There's then a pair of pointing hands.
Relax, I'm Mirage, remember?
And then a pair of fisted hands.
Autobots, roll out!
And then lastly, when it comes to kind of handheld weapons, we get a proper arm cannon, which much like RC, integrates into the design. And I think it's looking sick. The only downside is that unlike in the movie, he doesn't include two, which is a bit unfortunate, but the details on this, much like the robot design, I think are looking pretty banging. And much like some of the previously released characters, Mirage includes a traditional display base, so unfortunately no dynamic flight stand included with this guy, but he is packing a pair of awesome holographic transparent blue effects to kind of match in the movie, where he does use his holographic abilities to kind of wipe out Scourge. So those are great. I think they look awesome, especially when paired with Mirage. Now, checking out Mirage's articulation, unfortunately a little limited in some areas. So, the head's on a ball joint, this will look up, it will look down, rotate left to right, the shoulders can move forwards, they'll go backwards, they'll then go out to the sides. There is a bicep cut and an elbow bend, which to be fair does go to a pretty sick range. The wrists are on ball joints, the waist can rotate around with no problem. Unfortunately, the hips are quite limited, so they can't quite kick forwards to 90, and because this is a non-transforming kit, I think articulation really should have been a priority. They do, however, kick out to the side to a sick degree. In terms of the knees, these can bend to 90, they'll also rotate there out to the side, and the ankles are on ball joints, so these will go forwards, they will go backwards, tilt side to side, and rotate all the way around. So the articulation definitely isn't terrible. I mean, it's on par with some of the previously released characters, but again, to see what he is truly capable of, now let's put him through the pose test. Now, checking out some comparisons, slap bang and center, we have the Bloks Optimus Prime, their version of Bumblebee, and much like some of their previously released characters, all of the limbs are cross-compatible. So again, you can kind of come up with these wacky, crazy combinations. And speaking of, here we have Scourge, who alongside Mirage, I think are two of the best entries that we have so far seen released for this Rise of the Beast subline. Here's how they compare alongside Optimus Primal. And whacking out some Studio Series comparisons, first up we have Deluxe Class Mirage, and in the case of the Bloks version, unfortunately he is a little too small to scale with some of the Studio Series figures, but in the case of RC, I think she looks brilliant alongside this Deluxe Class. Here we have Bumblebee and the Core Class RC. So, like I mentioned previously, the scale between these two isn't too far off, and because this one doesn't transform, the design is way more streamlined to better match what we actually saw in the movie. So, at least for now, I think this is going to be kind of my Studio Series placeholder, because I think she's looking pretty sick, stacked up alongside some of the other Autobots. And so, wrapping up on this review for the Bloks, Transformers, Rise of the Beasts, Mirage and RC. So far, I think these are two of their best releases so far. Mirage in particular looks crazy in terms of detail. I love that RC is to scale with some of the Studio Series characters, and because she is a non-transforming model kit, this may just be the most accurate take that we have so far seen on that character design. The only drawback that I can see kind of turning some collectors off would be that they are a little stylized in comparison to your traditional model kit. Mirage and RC, for example, both have enlarged head sculpts, but to be honest, I'm quite a fan of the way these look. I think they look kind of cool, they look funky, and being stacked up alongside some of the other Bloks characters, they look banging. So if you have been a fan so far of some of the previously released Rise of the Beast kits, then I think you're really going to like these, because as I mentioned, definitely two of the most detailed that we've so far seen released. I would love to get your thoughts on both of them down in the comment section below. What do you guys think? I want to thank you all so much for watching, and if you are after adding any of these to your collection, then definitely be sure to check out the links down below. Transform and roll out!